All right, this part here, sitting up on top of here. I hope it shows up for you. The plates are black. That'd be silver oxide. It's even worse than that. I know the camera's not showing you half of how bad this thing is, but in other words, this is the one part that gets used a lot. It's the trimmer for the antenna, and I also think there's some kind of design flaw in it that if it's not lubricated, there's a spring mechanism in it to make contact with the part that moves with these fingers or whatever that transmits the capacitance. And if you don't lubricate it, as you move it back and forth, there's this bushing where let's put it like this: a washer wears thin, and it allows the movable plates to travel up and start hitting the fixed plates. That's all I can see. I'll look at it more tomorrow. I don't think I'm putting this back in the radio. I'm putting a new one in the radio. I shouldn't say I'm putting, but you're looking at 8 hours of thinking and working. And the two bolts that held this in were really tight. So I had to go between. First I tried using my heat station to heat the bolts up, but then I'm saying, you know what? I'm going to be sending heat down near some porcelain pieces. And I'm like, you know what? I could cause them to crack. So I put the soldering iron on the bolt, the first bolt I was going to try. And then I started realizing that was a good idea. I gave it 3 minutes. And then I also took a screwdriver, put up against the bolt, the head, and I tapped it with a small screwdriver, a small hammer 3 times. And then I realized I really couldn't get straight in on the frickin' bolt. Now, here's the tuning mechanism shaft. And this is all cookie looking, and the grease is solidified. But this has a bracket. I showed you that this morning. It has a bracket, and I had to remove one of the dials. I removed the band spread dial, which has some problems itself, in order to get the bracket out. And this was hitting that. That was hitting this. That was preventing this. That was preventing that. And here's a flexible coupler that went between this tuning capacitor and that big shaft I just showed you. And this is just big enough in diameter that it prevented anything from coming in at a good angle. Even my Phillips screwdriver, the offset one. Where is it? This is one of them. And this one here, with this tip, this one here worked the best. This one here worked the best. You know, I'm out here, I'm in front of the camera, yet the unit wasn't in front of the camera. So I did show you this. Let me go through it. This is the main shaft. And I got this out finally. And I got that coupler off. And I had to take the trick was I had to take the dial off, the band spread dial. And that allowed me to turn a bracket and slide it out. Now, there's no other way to get that part out. And I thought of at some point taking the whole tuning assembly out off the radio. And I thought I saw a website where someone did that to clean the chassis. I went back and I realized the guy never touched it. I would have took this radio really apart. But that tuning capacitor, this guy here, right? This is a key feature on this radio. Yeah, on all the nationals. They allow you to peak up the antenna that you're using. It makes the radio think it's the right length, and you get maximum signal. And it's shot. And some people would say, oh, you can clean that up. But how much longer is it going to last? You know, if I put it, I have to know why it failed. And I'm thinking just the use. And I know there's a spring feature that keeps contact with the movable plates, that assembly. It's a shaft with the plates on it, and you could take this apart. How you do it is you turn it so the plates are free of each other, and then this main shaft would come up. But they also have an adapter on here so they can make it a 1/4 inch shaft. That's not hard. I think I have one of these from another NC57, but it's in really bad shape. And I was looking at, remember I said it would take probably an hour working above, it wouldn't have worked. Every one of the plates, when you close it up, are almost touching. They've all migrated up. So half, they're not centered. Let's put it, the movable plates are not centered in the fixed plates, and they should be. And I got an idea now why they're failing. And it's probably just needs a little bit of lubrication once in a while on them to prevent the bushing or a washer, adjustment washer, from getting thinner and then allowing that whole assembly to shift up. And then plus the plates are touching with the silver mica buildup. So if you clean the plates of the silver mica oxide, I'm really tired. I've been on this all day. And then they went and moved our clocks. Big laugh on me. So anyway, this took a long time thinking, trying this, trying it. I get the screwdriver in there and I could only move it so much. I come in from one angle, but once I took the band spread off, I was able to take the bracket out and get this shaft out of the way. This shaft, I had to remove this in order to get this out of the picture. This was preventing me from coming in and getting that bolt. It made the angle wrong. But what a nightmare. And I kept thinking, there's got to be another way to do it. No, that's it. If you want to take the radio totally apart, it might, and I'm thinking to myself, it might still be hard to get. But those two bolts that hold that were in the radio really tight. It took heat, it took tapping, and then it took that getting that shaft and coupler out of the way, come in at the right angle. And the other thing too is once the screw came loose, the ratchet in the ratchet wrench, it was too strong, it wouldn't help me. So I had to take the ratchet unit off. You know, you could take this out. And I used it, I turned it by hand. It has a thumb thing on the back. But what a nightmare. And then at some point I was able to use tweezers on the bottom bolt. I used tweezers to have grippers in order to, once I got the bolt loose, I could grab the head and rotate it. It took a while, man. Even after I had the bolts, one bolt out and the other one loose, it's still, I take breaks. I'm like, this is really hard. But if you've been following my videos, you notice every radio seems to have something like this. It's just sitting and waiting for you. Now the last one was in order to figure out the trimmer on that radio, I had to verify this 10, was it a 10 picofarad or 100 picofarad capacitor was okay or wasn't shorted, it wasn't leaky. So I take the radio apart, get in there, it's fine. Then I realized that the antenna trim doesn't work when the radio is in the wide position. Well, most radios don't have a wide and a narrow. They have narrow and narrower, okay? But that one Navy radio, I guess that's so they could listen to music or something when they weren't using it. But it doesn't have the AM broadcast band. This is an AM broadcast band, but the AM broadcast band on the dial is in red and it has faded. So, you know, this radio is in good shape. It's just a matter of cleaning it, getting rid of some of the rust, you know, touching it up here and there. But, you know, this is what you find. And I give those guys credit that take one of these totally apart. You know, but they're younger than me, they have more energy, and they have a better workshop. I told you, the workbench I'm on right now is 2 foot by 3 foot. And the radio is a beast. It's 40 pounds. It's got holes underneath the tuning capacitors that you can hear stuff dropping through, disappearing objects phenomenon. Uh, a lot of screws that I undid, I let them sit on the chassis. Well, then my tool fell through when I was using to unscrew the bolt. The head fell through, and I could hear it hit the workbench. So I tilted the radio up, and all the screws that were laying on the chassis, they all went into the vortex. Okay, and now I understand all that. I used to say, I took this thing apart and had 10 bolts. Now I only have 7. Where did they go? I understand where they go now. You're paying attention to one thing, and you're moving something else, and they're scooting all over the place. They're scooting off the workbench. In this case, this room has a rug in it, but I don't have that problem anymore where I lose bolts. And I also, I bought some dollar store bins, and I put some of the bolts and stuff in there. But I think that's it. I just want to show you, I stayed on it, and I'm going to take it a little easier tomorrow because I have to decide, do I put one from another radio in there? I would like a brand new one in there because it was a lot of work to get it out. I think that's it. All right, that's it. I'm tired. They changed the clock. Oh, look, it's 9 o'clock. It's really 8 o'clock, though, right?